This is Trend Following Radio, where great thinking comes alive. Nobel Prize winners, legendary traders, best-selling authors, and the pros that know what drive us irrational human beings. I am your host, Michael Covel. Not filtered, raw, honest. That's my passion.
Welcome to 2020. What a cool sounding year, right? I mean, we've had this 2002, 2003, 7, 10, 13, 14, 16, all these just not fun to say years. 2020 is awesome. That might sound silly, but to my ears, 2020 sounds like a fantastic fucking year. Now, I don't know what's going to happen exactly. I've got my assorted plans in motion. Who the hell knows what the timing will be on everything? We can put the plans in place. We can have our process. But predicting that exact outcome, really tough to do. One outcome I can predict for this year: 2 new books planned. Actually, there's like 10 books planned, but 2 this year. The first one will be a Tom Basso book, inspired from the podcast, of course. For those of you that are not aware of Tom is a retired trader who has gone on to have a second life now in the age of social media. But Tom was one of the first people that gave me time on this podcast. You know, a really well-known trader who just came on. And he came on a bunch. And if you want to listen to the mega episode of Tom Basso, please do. Episode 400. It's like 4 hours long. A great trend following understanding. It is the foundation of my book on Tom. Coming in at a market wizard style, which is a style that I've not yet done except briefly in an appendix. But I really like that style. I think Jack Schwager did a great job with his Market Wizards books. And I will emulate for 1 or 2 books. Because the great thing about this podcast is the content that I've been afforded to create goes on forever. I mean, literally, if you sat down right now, I think it's 24 hours a day for 4 weeks it would take to listen to this entire podcast. 24 hours a day for a month. That is one massive audiobook. So in my mind, I want to look at ways to unpack that information, to unpack those insights, and not keep them only buried in audio. Don't get me wrong. The podcast is my bread and butter. Well, I guess books are my bread and butter. Well, I guess there's a lot of things that are my bread and butter, but I love the podcast. I love the audio format. But there are people, including me, who loves the written word, who wants to see in print. So going inside Tom Basso's mind makes a lot of damn sense for a book. Oh, and I forgot one piece of housekeeping news. Late February, Singapore, an event at the Singapore Exchange, I will be speaking. If you would like information on that, drop me an email, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. I will gladly give you the details. It's like February 20th or February 22nd. I'll get the exact date. Now today, I really have this desire to start the year, so to speak. This is my first monologue for 2020. And I feel like sharing a little bit from an outside author. One author who has also given his time to this podcast, helped to launch this podcast, so to speak. That would be the author Ryan Holiday. And Ryan has done a tremendous number of books about Stoicism, the philosophy. Now today, as we launch into 2020, I want to read a few passages, a few sections from Ryan's book, The Daily Stoic. I thought this was a great way to share with you, the audience, something that's inspiring me right now. I mean, it's not a new inspiration, Stoicism or Buddhism. I mean, if you really look at Stoicism, if you look at Buddhism, it's trend following 101. I mean, this mindset for both of these philosophies, very closely related. Live and let live. Put a good effort in motion, but you can't predict what's going to happen. This is trend following. Unlike, for example, the people that are sitting around all day, still waiting for their advice as to what will happen with the market. They've not yet got to the point where they can understand that anybody who is telling you they think they know what's going to happen to the market is full of shit. Like, you got to understand that. You got to get to that understanding. I mean, it's 2020. You should know by now that anybody who tells you that they can predict what's going to happen tomorrow and you can profit off that prediction, they are rolling dice. They are flipping coins. You really want to bet off that? No, you don't want to bet off that. The only reason you listen is because you want to make money and you're emotional. Your thinking brain is gone and the lizard brain has taken over. Yeah, that's what happens. You become a damn lizard. You're like a lizard crawling on the ground with your tongue coming in and out rapidly. Literally, that's the person that listens to market prognosticators tell them what direction the market is going to go in, and they actually believe it. You have become a lizard. Is that harsh? Damn fucking straight it's harsh. But then again, that's life. Look at that. Right out of the gate, I'm already swearing. Such a bad habit. I actually don't even swear in person anymore. It's just this damn podcast. And I know I shouldn't. There's some goody two-shoes out there that hear my swearing and say, Michael, why are you doing that? You don't have to do that. You're smarter than that. Perhaps. Perhaps not. Perhaps it doesn't make a hill of beans difference. Perhaps the F-bomb is just a little bit of passion. Perhaps the F-bomb is my unusual way to use an exclamation mark. So yeah, for those of you out there that don't like it, I apologize. Sort of, maybe, not really. But I'll try and do better. Well, maybe not. Damn it, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. You know what? Let me jump into where I really wanted to go right now today, which is not defend my swearing. Back to Ryan Holiday, back to the Daily Stoic. What's really great about the Daily Stoic is Ryan lays it out by the day. Each day, a particular philosophical moment to consider. And since we're at the new year, I might as well start with January 1st. The chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control and which have to do with the choices I actually control. Where then do I look for good and evil? Not to uncontrollable externals, but within myself to the choices that are my own. And that is Ryan going ahead and quoting one of his favorite Stoic philosophers. Now, the explanation he gives in the book about that passage, which adds to the whole thought process here, the single most important practice in Stoic philosophy is differentiating between what we can change and what we can't, what we have influence over and what we do not. A flight is delayed because of weather. No amount of yelling at an airline representative will end a storm. No amount of wishing will make you taller or shorter or born in a different country. No matter how hard you try, you can't make someone like you. And on top of that, time spent hurling yourself at these immovable objects is time not spent on the things that we can change. Now, to add a little bit of my commentary there, two things jump out. First off, trend following. It's the trend following mindset 101. Can't get around it. That is trend following. What can you control and what can you not control? And number two, that passage really tackles one of the few things that I learned in an MBA program, which is the idea of an opportunity cost. If you're doing this, you can't do that. If you're doing that, you can't do this. If you spend all day arguing with strangers on Twitter about whether or not you like Trump or you don't like Trump, what's the opportunity cost for you? The opportunity cost is you're spending all that time arguing when you could be writing a book, recording a podcast, making a trade, making a movie, doing any damn thing other than proving the size of your balls on Twitter, arguing about whether or not Trump is good or bad. Now, of course, I'm an opinionated guy. I have things to say, but the issue becomes how much time does one spend on their opinions? Where does one put their voice as well? Meaning, what do you talk about? So how much time do you talk about it, and what do you talk about? I am a pretty efficient guy. I really don't want to spend all day long arguing about whether or not Trump is good or bad. It's pointless. The opportunity cost is huge. Back to Ryan. The recovery community practices something called the serenity prayer. It goes like this: God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, end quote. Addicts cannot change the abuse suffered in childhood. They cannot undo the choices they have made or the hurt they've caused. But they can change the future through the power they have in the present moment. They can control the choices they make right now. I got to do a quick interjection again. The moment of right now. Alan Watts Buddhism or trend following. Take your pick. It's the same damn thing. Back to Ryan. The same is true for us today. If we can focus on making clear what parts of our day are within our control and what parts are not, we will not only be happier, we will have a distinct advantage over other people who fail to realize they are fighting an unwinnable battle. Now, right back to that unwinnable battle, that's Twitter. That is the unwinnable battle. You can't sway 50% of the people. And the other 50% of the people, they probably already agree with you. So now look, don't get me wrong. I like having an opinion. I like having a voice. I like passing along insights that I've pulled in from some of the most brilliant minds alive today. Within reason, though. It doesn't dominate my life. I mean, I'm a guy who has literally made the decision in the last 6, 7, 8 years to escape, to literally try something entirely new. From culture to country to language, that changes you. That gives you a different perspective. I'm not in the boiling cauldron that is USA debate right now. I don't care about what anybody says on CNBC or Bloomberg. Not because I'm cocky, not because I'm arrogant. It's just immaterial. It has no relevance. But you know, a lot of people don't get that yet. They don't see that yet. I had somebody email me the other day. They talked about a very well-known trader who was essentially, with a little bit of kind of meandering language, but essentially trying to say that trend following doesn't work, or trend following doesn't work for the size account he has, or trend following has changed and he doesn't want to trade as big a position of his entire account in trend following as he's done in the past, or trend following doesn't work if you take all the leverage out of it. Not really a big deal. Everybody has an opinion. But somebody asked me about this particular opinion. And it was just a typical quick interview segment on, I think, Bloomberg with this trader and some talking head. And it was a soundbite. That's it. Nothing more. No depth. I just have to trust that this person, in that very brief amount of time, was giving me everything I needed to know. a pure logical fallacy, a pure appeal to authority. Mike, bow down to the authority. You can't possibly have anything to say to this authority. No, personally, I don't. Nice individual. Very nice. Nice to me. But this reader asked for my response. And I don't know the exact reason that this particular person was throwing some shade at trend following. So I told the guy that was writing me the email, I said, listen, my book is my response. My newest edition of Trend Following, the 5th edition, is my response. And this person writes back to me very nicely. Mike, can you tell me which section of the Trend Following book is the response? Now, I was wondering, did he really think I wasn't going to give him the answer that I ended up giving him, which I'll tell you in a moment? I mean, he must have known the answer I was going to give him as he was typing that question. Where in your book, Mike, is the response to this trader who is throwing shade at trend following? Now, you guys know what I responded, right? My 5th edition of Trend Following is 220,000 words. That's my response. Mike, that's passing the buck. You didn't answer the question, Mike. You're dodging, you're weaving, Mike. Fuck off. It's 220,000 words for a freaking reason. You take the totality of those 220,000 words and you contrast it against any soundbite from anybody. And then it's up to you to make a decision. Did I, Mike Covel, did I write a book, my 5th edition of Trend Following, at 220,000 words? Did I give you enough information, enough insights, enough wisdom for you to contrast against the soundbite, the Bloomberg soundbite? And so then you have a choice to make, because I can't make that choice for you. 220,000 words here, soundbite here. What do you do with that? That's up to you. Now I know what I would do with it. That's up to me. This is one of the biggest issues right now in the modern world. People are afraid to believe their lying eyes. People look at the overwhelming evidence for a particular point of view. And if one little discrepancy appears, oh my gosh, everything went to hell in a handbasket. As opposed to thinking, where did the discrepancy come from? Why does the discrepancy exist? What was the purpose of the discrepancy? Was it propaganda? Was it real? Was it taken out of context? Was it exactly said as the person who said it meant it to be? I mean, to me, if you take something like this 220,000 word bomb that I've created, this beast, and you run it up against, let's say, Warren Buffett, who just says, well, trend following doesn't work. Now, I'm not saying that Warren Buffett has said trend following doesn't work. I don't know that he believes that one way or the other. But let's just say he says it. So I deliver to you the 220,000 words, well-written, well-researched, not being cocky, just being truthful. And Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, says unilaterally, trend following doesn't work. What do you do now? Do you accept Warren Buffett at face value and that's it? And the 220,000 words in my trend following book, which obviously quotes a tremendous number of traders in of itself, you decide that that book is just dead, the information irrelevant, the information proven wrong, just because you heard Buffett tell you on TV that trend following doesn't work? Is that really how your mind works? Is that how you navigate information? Is that how you navigate insight? God, I hope not. You're going to have a really rough life if that's how you do it. The best thing that Ronald Reagan said, and it was about meeting with Mikhail Gorbachev, trust but verify. If Big Daddy Omaha, and again, I'm speaking hypothetically, I don't know that Big Daddy Omaha Warren Buffett has ripped trend following. I don't know that. But if Big Daddy Omaha ripped trend following and said, gosh, that stuff is just shit, trust him, but verify him. Don't just do half the equation. Oh, I trust the really wealthy person. I trust the really smart person. No, verify them. If you don't verify them, you deserve to lose. Damn straight you deserve to lose 100%. If you don't verify, you got a mental problem.
I see a time when those awake will understand how to make money in up, down, and surprise markets. Whether new trader or experienced, college student or financial advisor, protecting against a crash or just trying to make a lot of money, trend following offers everyone an answer in uncertain times. To get started immediately, send me an email, michael@covel.com. I will send you the right trend following steps to take along with my free video. But if you want to buy and hold, trust the government and trust Wall Street, this is absolutely not for you.